Chris Keebler, Communications Director here at TrueNorth Community Services. Welcome to the inaugural episode of Good Happens Here, the TrueNorth podcast where we take a deep dive into topics that we hope you'll care as much about as we do. This episode is brought to you in part by PowerBox Technologies. PowerBox has been a longtime partner of TrueNorth, providing the technology support that helps us stay connected, responsive, and focused on serving our community. When our systems work better, we can help make people better. Today we'll be talking about mentoring. Have you had a mentor? Think back to when you were younger. Was there a teacher or a coach who took extra time to encourage you and maybe just listen? Perhaps it was an uncle or an aunt, maybe a youth group leader or a scoutmaster. Maybe it was a big brother or sister, literal or figurative. Hopefully you've had a mentor or two in your life at one point or another. I know I did. One in particular was Mike Woodstra Sr. I met him when I was probably in my mid-30s, and Mike was probably like 20 years older than me. I didn't know at the time I needed a mentor. I knew I wasn't looking for one, and yet there was Mike mentoring me all the same. We initially met at church, but later when Mike founded Hope Builders, a nonprofit to help local people in need with small-scale home repair and improvement projects, we ended up working very closely together on that organization's board of directors. Mike left this world far too soon. Cancer took him from us in his late 60s, but the effect his presence in my life had on me and the man I am today cannot be overstated. That is the impact a mentor can have. Joining me today is, I'm sure, a familiar face and voice to many of you, Chadwick Wallinga, True Mentors Coordinator here at TrueNorth. Can you tell me, first of all, welcome to the first podcast.
Congratulations.
Congratulations to TrueNorth.
Yeah.
We're taking the big leap. We're talking about mentoring. Can you tell me about a mentor that maybe you had growing up?
Yeah, I mean, I've obviously in the last 5 months, 6 months, not only been thinking about this a lot, but having a lot of conversations. And I think to really narrow it down, I think it comes down to like two, as far as like people that actually changed, like, or added to or gave me a trajectory that I'm on, like, still today. Definitely my band director, Brent Kreiderman. By that time I got to high school, I had kind of already figured out that music was my thing, and Brent just allowed me, even though it's just a punk kid, very punk,
as we all were.
He really allowed me space to succeed in certain areas beyond music. Also fail in areas beyond music, and I think in all of that he really inspired in me like a confidence that I needed, that I don't know that I realized that's what I was getting then, but even today I still feel it. But then that kind of segues into number two, because it was in that all-star band that I connected with a couple guys from Spring Arbor University, who were a part of a mentoring program. I'm sure it's changed throughout the years. I didn't know that it was a mentoring program. I wasn't officially enrolled in the mentoring program, but two guys from this program called Action Jackson. They
not to be confused with the Carl Weathers movie.
No, not at all. Not at all. No. But they brought me into what they were doing. So they were going into areas with at-risk youth, and maybe I was identified as an at-risk youth without knowing it. But they kind of invited me in, not to be a participant in their program, but to kind of walk alongside them as leaders in the program. And that really took me into some areas where I really enjoyed what we were doing, but I really enjoyed what they were doing.
You were in college at the time?
No, this is still in high school.
Still in high school, but it was a college program?
Spring Arbor University, they were putting it on. But they just kind of invited me to like go alongside them and help set these things up and put on the programming for these kids. And so like that was a real experience for me that I mean that's ultimately what I still do today. Yeah.
Before we get too much further with this, can we come up with a good definition of mentoring even?
Ooh.
I can do this. I can give you the dictionary definition.
Okay.
The dictionary says a mentor is a trusted advisor or a teacher.
For me, and I think my definition is kind of one of those, it's probably a word salad that needs to be unpacked a little bit, because it's a hard thing to pin down, especially, when you have people come up and say, you did this for me,
Yeah.
and you're like, I'm not exactly sure what I did, but the best definition I can come up with today, and it'll probably change, mentoring is the willingness, the ability to fill a space with your surplus value. And so that's where I said unpack it.
Yeah, okay.
Space could be a gap. Maybe there's a gap in somebody's life. We think a lot like homes where no father is present. There's a gap. That's an easy one to do.
My dad wasn't around much when he wasn't much of a peach.
Right.
So there was a gap.
So there's a gap, right?
Yeah.
But that kind of brings this negative kind of connotation with that. What I like about the definition that I'm using today, at least, the willingness to fill a space with surplus value, and I'll give a simple example of it. Of somebody who mentored me recently, and they probably don't even know they did. I was installing something in my home a couple months ago, and somebody gave me a hearthstone, and it was beautiful. It was exactly the look that I wanted, but where it was and the person who gave it to me's home, they had it in the corner. I was setting it up in the center of the room. So the way they had it fit perfectly. When I put it where I wanted it, it was sticking way too far out. So I knew I either have to go buy one or I have to cut this one down. But I'm handy, but I'm not a handy man. You know what I mean?
You're one up on me. I'm not even handy. Okay. Yes, but, I know what you mean.
So the hamster wheel's spinning. I know I'm going to have to cut it. I go to YouTube. I watch all the videos, right? Because you go to YouTube to learn things, and that's all great. But I didn't have the confidence yet because I figure I've only got one shot at this. Otherwise, I'm going to have to go buy a new one.
Right.
And, if you ask my wife, she'd be like, well, use a Lifeline, right? She probably would. So I'm here at TrueNorth one day. The wheel's spinning on it. I'm walking down the hall, and I walk past Joe.
Joe Savinsky, who's our maintenance supervisor,
and he's a
font of skills. Yes.
He's got surplus value when it comes to being a handyman.
Oh my gosh!
So that's what I mean by the surplus value. Yep. He's got experience. He's got
a lifetime of it. Yes.
All of it.
Yes.
He's got it. So, and he basically was able to tell me everything that I could have learned, that I learned on YouTube, what to do. But the fact that I had him there,
ask follow-up questions, to make sure you understood things.
Yeah, to just kind of take my lack of confidence.
And didn't treat you like an idiot for asking.
Not at all. Right. And so when I walked away from Joe in that moment, he gave me the confidence to be able to go home. He didn't come over and do it for me.
Right.
But he inspired that confidence in me. And so I would say in that situation, Joe kind of mentored me through this simple task. I had a space to fill, lack of confidence, lack of experience. Joe had surplus. And so I think with this definition, filling space with surplus value, it can sound kind of mechanical and maybe even functional. But when I look at it, what it tells me is anybody can be a mentor.
Yeah, I like this idea.
Anybody can.
I like this idea of demystifying. And we talked about this last week or the week before when we did a prep for this. That demystifying what mentoring looks like, or what it is, what it involves. Both of us have experience with mentoring in a faith-based setting, but if we strip it back to its essential meaning, why do you think mentoring is so important, in particular for youth? Most of what we do at mentoring here at TrueNorth, and we'll get into this a little later again about the details about the different kind of things we do, but most of it is adult to youth mentoring. So why do you think mentoring is so important for kids, for youth?
For you, I mean, today, it's in today's culture and in today's world, especially, there's a huge gap in just the passing on of not only soft skills but also some of the hard skills.
Define both of those for people who maybe don't. I know what it means, of course, but for people who don't know what soft skills are and hard skills are.
Yeah, soft skills, just the ability to be listened to listen,
to cope with adversity.
Coping, yeah. If you're dealing with something and if you don't, the value of having some person there that will be with you and talk with you. Even simple things like opening the door for people. Just those types of things.
Manners. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
soft skills.
But if you don't have any way to witness that in your life, and as a youth or even as an adult, if you don't have anybody to show that to you. Yeah.
What's the expression? If you can see it, you can be it.
Yeah.
Right.
And then the opposite. If you can't see it,
you can't be it.
You can't be it.
Yeah.
So like just those day-to-day like nuances of life.
Right.
Hard skill stuff.
How to cut a hearthstone to fit your.
That was exactly it. How to change the oil in the car.
Right. Right. How to braid hair. How to whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just like so. I think with youth, having people there, and a lot of kids are, like, if you're athletic, in this culture, you can find a team to join,
and then you'll have a coach.
You have a coach, right?
Coaches, yeah.
Yeah, we like to think of teachers as mentors in that capacity,
and often they are.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll. The best teachers out there, and I'm gonna toot my wife's horn. My wife was a teacher. She retired 30-year career as a teacher, was an art teacher. So I say she was a teacher first and an art teacher second. But even before all of that, she was there for her kids. The best teachers are like that. The best coaches understand that their goal is not just to teach these kids soccer skills or basketball skills, but it's also to mentor them. So
and those
I interrupted you.
No, that's okay. No, but those are the conversations and the actions that kids, especially in this digital age, and this isn't just a problem for the kids. Like adults are struggling with this too. Is that we have this technology that's basically brand new in human existence, and it's producing for us, like I read in a book recently, this facsimile of reality.
Are you talking AI specifically, or
just
the whole
technology
computer, internet,
in general?
Yes,
yeah,
right.
I mean it's AI's its own
a
thing.
facsimile of reality.
A facsimile of reality, and so that's kind of that's what a lot is mentoring, not just kids, but a lot of adults too. And so what the relational mentoring does is it allows kind of for that analog experience of I can watch the video on how to cut the hearthstone, right? But when Joe is
talking there with you
me through it,
and offering immediate feedback to your questions,
it's very real, and so like that's just critical, like across the board right now.
So with young people, some of the phrasing that we use talking in our mentoring programs, kids just need one more caring adult in their life. That's a phrase we use. And I'm like trying to get to the essence of why is it important to have caring adults in a kid's life? Why can't their friends be their mentors? Why does it have to be somebody older? Or is it like you said? Because ideally, if you're an adult, you've got what do you call a surplus? What was the phrase?
Surplus value.
Yes, I've been alive for 58 years. I got some surplus value. I can pass it on. Right?
Yeah, experience, perspective.
Yeah,
and it was. It was just, we don't have those rite of passage things anymore, right? Yeah. So there were so many things.
Not many of them.
Yeah, but they were built into society and culture at some point. And maybe, I think when that's not there, something's going to fill the void. Something will fill it.
In today's technologically advanced society, it's video games and texting and social media and all kinds of stuff. That's a facsimile of reality. I like that.
Yeah.
I don't like it, but I like how you worded it. Do we have any stats we can share?
I've got a few here.
Okay.
Get it opened up.
Just a reminder, today's podcast is sponsored by Parvox Technologies. For many years, Parvox has proudly supported True North with reliable technology solutions that keep our mission moving forward. We're grateful for partners like Parvox who help make our work possible. Both Bill and his son Christian, who run the organization, are top-notch people. I've known them for, at this point, 20, 25 years. They're just awesome. Parvox, great partner for us.
So yeah, I mean, a lot of the stuff we talk about here, when it comes to like school type thing, 52% of mentored youth are less likely to just skip a day of school, and that's just one day. And again,
yeah,
that's one thing that, you know, if you do it once, you'll do it again. 46% of mentored youth are least likely to use illicit drugs, you know, and so that's
Huge.
Another one of those
Huge.
things there. You know, and even just things like skipping class, 37% less likely, you know, because they're being given those instilled types of things.
Yeah.
And then also, you know, when you start looking at the numbers of like just being able to like get up off the couch, get out of the house, and start looking past life in high school, that type of thing, you know, mentor capacity for like just getting into college is huge, or getting into the workforce is huge.
A trade, whatever.
Because
yes, exactly.
You've got a vision of something that's maybe beyond what you normally see in your day-to-day life, you know, and so some of those.
Again, if you can see it, you can be it.
You can be it. Yeah, I mean, I probably one of the dearest mentoring relationships that I had, you know, was in you know, we're still friends today. It was centered around music. Huge talent over here, had a space in their life for somewhere to go plug in that talent. I, on the other hand, also a lover of music, had surplus of equipment and experience, and so you bring those things together.
Right.
You know, it's just a wonderful.
Yeah, you're talking about a young woman who ended up on The Voice, was it?
Yeah, Iris. I mean,
local.
I mean, that was just something fun that, you know, 12 years old,
right,
working.
Would you think a kid from this area would end up, you know, and there was a piece of it. You and your wife were a piece of that.
Yeah.
It was a mentoring experience that happened.
Yeah.
That pushed a piece of her building blocks that ended up with her on The Voice at whatever. She was a teenager, right?
She made it there when she was 20. But
okay.
Like, you know that whole journey began at age 12.
Right.
There was nothing that said, okay, this is what it's going to be. It wasn't planned, but that consistency and those years of just blending all of that, you know, created some great experience.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic.
Let's talk a little bit about the different kinds of mentoring opportunities that True North offers under the umbrella of True Mentors programming. Mm-hmm. What are the kind of things we do?
Yeah, I mean, they're basically there's basically three umbrellas for it. You've got your school-based. We've got our school-based things. Every Tuesday right now, I head into White Cloud Middle School, White Cloud and Newaygo Middle School, a program called True Blue Academy.
That's group mentoring, right?
This is a group mentoring.
On-site at the school.
On-site at the school. You know, like in the White Cloud program, True Blue Academy, the community knows me. I know the community. I know those kids. I was the librarian there before, so the moral authority kind of naturally matched. Newaygo, not so much. They weren't very impressed.
Who's this guy with the weird name?
Yeah. You know, how long are you going to be here? You know, that type of thing. Sure. And so,
it takes time.
It takes time.
Site-based. Okay, what other besides our site-based in the group?
You've got the Parks and Focus program, which is, you know, just a blast. It's a photography-based program.
Outdoor adventure and photography.
Outdoors adventures. We take the kids camping up at Pictured Rocks for a week, you know, and teach them photography skills, but also, you know, a lot of them, it's the longest they've ever been away from their family. It's the furthest they've ever been away from home. You know, so again, you've got some you got some work to do on just the trust, but you're camping. It's a good time. Everybody has a great time, and then when they get through that week, they classify as alumni, and so we do little trips with them throughout the year. So there's that program, and then we have the community-based program, which is basically that's your traditional big brothers, big sisters
one-on-one matches.
Yeah, it's the one-on-one matches, and I'll be honest. That model nationally is suffering. So a lot of the pains that we're feeling here, in one way it's kind of comforting to know that it's not just us.
Just us, right?
That across the country there's a shortage of male mentors.
And we'll circle back to this.
We'll kind of come back to it. So we're kind of dealing. So we're looking at that, and can we expand the idea of community-based mentoring to instead of just being a one-on-one or a married couple doing it, can we create community-based mentoring that act more like small groups for shorter periods of time? And mentor kids that way. So So
all right, and I'm gonna spend a little more time on both those topics, but just so we have it, we've got the kind of the site-based group mentoring happening. We've got the outdoor adventure photography, which is Parks and Focus. Also a partnership with the Udall Foundation, which should mention them, and then our traditional one-on-one mentoring. So I know you're relatively new to the position. Are you 6 months in yet?
Not 6 months yet.
Okay. Not even. Okay. So you're relatively new to the position. Can you share any anecdotal stories about the kids in our various mentoring programs and the differences you've either personally seen in them as a result or positive differences their parents have reported to you?
I mean, across the board, I took a girl up to the Pictured Rocks trip
with the group.
Here, somebody who kind of had a interesting family dynamic, had been like homeschooled for a while, and like this was her first outing.
Social group thing out.
She's been attending a youth group for a while, so she's starting, but like to get into a van with strangers. 14 other people that you don't know and go up there. Super kind, very attentive, very helpful. But because of that trip, since we've been back, like she's got a best friend. They hang out all the time. Got to see him at the last alumni trip. That's just one of those stories of like blossom. And then to be able to sit down with the parents when I'm out and about, I know where some of the parents work, so I can sit down and have one-on-one conversations. How are they doing? Having the trust of those parents. I mean, it's good.
What does the need for mentors look like locally?
The need for mentors locally look like?
You mentioned males.
I mean the males. I've been able to get around and speak to different groups, churches, service organizations. I had a meeting last week for an initiative where I'm just going out to explain the need to people. And one thing that I'm learning. Especially among the men, right? Because we're talking, we need male mentors. There's a shortage. There's a shortage nationally, and I think the need for the men is we need to create a space where the men feel safe working with kids. Like that's just I'm hearing it everywhere that I go, and so
the world's a different place than it was. When we were growing up, I mean, and it's different than it was 5 years ago. It's different, and we don't need to get into too much of the weeds, but I think people just understand, there's been a couple large organizations that have had some scandals, and it impacts people's willingness to I don't say be vulnerable, but to put themselves in a position where they, might. So maybe I don't say running scared, but there's some of that.
Yeah, they're balking.
Yeah.
And so, but I mean, to them, what I'm saying, okay, is if this is a concern, and it obviously is, I think the need for situations like that is creating space for people to come together and do things together. So like we have 12 to 15 guitars upstairs. Acoustic guitars. I mean, could I go out and teach kids how to play guitar? Absolutely, I would love it. But what if we can set up a group of like 6 adults, men and women, to group teach 12 kids guitar?
Sure.
And then 6 months down the road, hold a recital or something.
We'd School of Rock. We build a rock band. We go on tour.
That's what the
we start
people
making
want.
some bank. I'm getting ahead of myself.
That's what the people want.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I think that's
Sure.
I mean that's kind of a neat. Yes. So we're saying yes, we need you. Again, going back to that idea of like, what is your surplus value?
Right.
What do you have that you can give, and then to be able to meet the mentors kind of in the middle and say we're gonna help create the space for you to be able to do that.
Yeah. Are there any trends in mentoring you've noticed, or ways that you could potentially see the way in which we offer mentoring opportunities changing or growing? Like, what are you seeing coming down the pike potentially?
Yeah.
You mentioned something about more group.
I think more group type things, and I having only been here 6 months, I can't say exactly.
Sure. We brought in other ways of doing things, other kinds of group mentoring, and they work for a while, and then for whatever reason, sometimes it's funding, sometimes it's other reasons, sometimes it's staffing. The one-on-one has kind of always been there in one form or another.
Sure, and I think it should be.
Probably will be. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. At least the visual that I have in my head is where I think where it seems like the one-on-one is like the consistent one that's always been there. In my mind, I see the one-on-one as the bottom of the funnel, where you kind of like it needs to be there for those kids that could really need or could use, not for good or bad reasons.
Right.
Yeah. But I see it as more at the bottom of the funnel, where if we can create the group events, low commitment, high impact events up top, moderate, in the middle, and then, your one-on-one is really your high commitment, high impact.
Yeah.
And so,
and it's not for everybody, and that's fine, right? But if
let's just go back to the guitar group or a group of people that know how to fix a car, and so they're going to work on a car for 6 months, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right, and so they're working on a task, learning an instrument, working on a car.
Sure.
Mentoring happens in there.
Yep. Just organically.
Yeah,
right?
it's happening. And then, if you've got 15 people together working on something, and then the funnel gets down here, and that person who may be hesitant about taking on that high commitment, high impact role of being a one-on-one, all of a sudden now they've kind of met this kid for a while. They've gotten to know the kid's family a little bit. And then they kind of organically go like, I like Junior here, and so you can kind of pull it in. So at least in my mind, I view it as a funnel like that, and it creates opportunity for more people to explore mentoring.
This leads right into my next question. If someone's watching or listening, and they think they might be interested in getting involved with youth mentoring locally, what are some ways they can get their feet wet or learn more? I know you've got some intro to the need things. Talk about those.
Yeah, we're kind of developed this way where I come in and I can speak, where we just talk about the need for mentors and a very open kind of dialogue, because nobody's gonna say like kids don't need an adult,
Right.
But when you just kind of let them talk back and forth about it. So yeah, the introduction to the need, we're going to be doing those regularly. I'll actually be holding those on Zoom soon too, just for those folks that maybe can't make it to a physical meeting, but get it in there.
This podcast is going to post in pretty early in January.
Okay.
Do we know when the date of the next one of those is going to happen?
We're going to pivot to, right now we're focused on White Cloud and Owego, December, January, and then February, March, we're going to pivot to Fremont and Hesperia.
Okay.
So, we're going to take the lessons that we learned from this first one and apply it ahead for that.
So these are, I don't know what to call them, an event, a time and a place where people can come and learn.
Yeah.
So whether it's here at our office or at a location off-site, or potentially via Zoom, they can just to find out what we're doing, what the need is, have a discussion about it.
Yeah.
Intro to the need.
Yep. But before then, I mean, even if you're interested in just helping youth, but not necessarily as a mentor right now, like we have an event coming up on January 24th, Mentor for a Day. We need people who maybe would just be willing to come play some games with some kids or do some crafts with the kids. It's a non-mentor role.
To show up and hang out.
But you can support youth that way. I mean, that's a very low commitment, high impact still.
And it's a great way to kind of get your feet wet, test it. I go, maybe I want to, I don't know, do I want to do this? Let me go to something like that.
Yeah.
It turns out, you know what? Actually, maybe I can do this.
Yeah.
Or you're there and you go, I don't want to do a one-on-one, but this is fun. Right.
Anytime you need somebody to hand out pizza and ice cream, call me. Like
exactly.
that builds.
Or play dodgeball, whatever. Yeah.
Right. But that builds like a program.
Sure.
And so like even those types of things are good. What I would encourage everyone to do, and I understand that there's probably going to be a little hesitation on this. It's kind of like it's kind of like going to a new church and then they kind of have a feeling that you like kids and they're like, oh, do you want to work in the nursery? It's not that at all, I promise. But it's kind of at least like, if you go to the website. Go to the True Mentors page, scroll down. There's a link that says, and I'm sure we'll put the link in, Explore Mentoring. I promise you, if you fill that out, I'm not going to immediately go like, here's little Johnny.
You're right.
I'm kind of curious to have people fill that out and kind of like let us know what is your surplus value. But maybe you're good with woodworking, and like you could do that without thinking about it, or you like to cook. I'm just curious, like for anybody who's listening to this, like what is your value? Like what is your surplus value? What do you love to do? Yeah. Like you would be like, I could pass this on. Sure. Maybe not in a one-on-one capacity, but like. If we offer a cooking class for kids, can we call you to come teach a class and then let us help you explore you? Because as the True Mentors coordinator, I think the first thing that people think of is that I work with kids. When I don't see it that way. I see it as I'm here to mentor mentors.
Sure.
And so I want to know, like,
facilitate the process.
Who are you?
Yeah.
What do you feel like you have to offer?
And how can we do it?
And can I help inspire confidence in you the same way that people inspired confidence in me? And if along the way, we can find a match.
So did our discussion spark anything else that you want to say about mentoring or what we do with mentoring? I'm going to give you a chance to,
Yeah. I mean, really I think when I sit down, when a family approaches True North and they're like, I'd like to have a mentor for my child. I go to the home. I spend time with the family. I get to know the family, I use my spidey senses to just kind of feel like what does this family need?
Right.
When I sit down with potential mentors, I do the same thing. Like, who are you? What do you need as a mentor? In your life for that support, and if we can get a match soon and quickly, great. but if I can just invite you to be a part of this process for a while, get your feet wet, help us work with these kids, and maybe along the way something will inspire you.
Yeah.
And
it's another great point to make, that as part of demystifying what is mentoring, there is no one size fits all. We want to help people find whatever way that works for them.
Yeah.
And that's going to work best for the kid and for you as the mentor. All right, everybody, thanks for watching and or listening to our first episode. If this discussion has sparked your interest in mentoring, or a new or a novel way in which mentoring can happen, we encourage you to reach out to Chadwick. I'll put his contact information on screen, but for those of you listening, you may call him here at TrueNorth at 231-924-0641. His extension is 120, or email him at Cwallenga, that's CWALLENGA.
only one L.
Oh, that's good. I'll make sure I put it up right and say it right.
Two L's is Dutch. I'm Polish.
Okay, CACWALENGA at TrueNorth Services, that's with an S, TrueNorth Services, plural, .org. You may also visit our website at www.TrueNorthServices, again with an S on the end, plural, .org. And lastly, if your business or organization, or even you personally, would like to sponsor future episodes of Good Happens Here, please reach out to Mark Kraus, our Community Liaison and Development Director, at 231-924-0641, extension 161, or via email at mkraus, MKRAUS, at TrueNorthServices.org. That's it.
Cool.
Chadwick, thank you for being here with me tonight. Thanks again to Powerbox Technologies for sponsoring our first episode. And to all of you, thanks for making good happen here.